after a few seconds of shock, I finally was able to say, are you seeing this? Like in the video of yourself, can you see this? Can you see this? Hey guys, it's Elisa. Welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to do something a little fun, just a shorter video, and tell you guys some of the experiences that I've had during my mediumship readings with my clients, things that I've experienced, things that I've saw, things that I've felt, things that make me go, whoa. So hopefully you enjoy this, and let's dive right in. So we're gonna start with some of the more simpler ones, and then we're gonna work our way up. Sometimes in my readings, so I sit in the same spot every time I do a reading. I do my readings over video with people, over video Facebook calls, and I'm right next to the window. And on occasion, I'll be in the middle of a reading and I will sense something, and my window is like right next to me where I sit for my readings. And I will look over and there will be a hummingbird just floating, well, oscillating. Did you guys know that hummingbirds actually oscillate? Pretty cool. Anyways, there will be a hummingbird just sitting there, just hovering, like right next to the window, like as if it's looking at me. And it's just pretty interesting. Or a few times there's been like a dove, a mourning dove, sitting right on my windowsill, just sitting there. Now, can I, prove that that is spirit? No, because it's birds. But for when it happens and they're right there on my window during a reading. And people in Pets and Spirit do use birds as a way to show signs and to show their presence. That's one of the ones that I get pretty often. So it's just very interesting, especially if I mention it to a client. If I mention it in the moment that I'm seeing it and they are like, oh my God, birds is my sign for my loved one, then I'm really like, okay, awesome. I will often see what kind of looks like orbs. That's the best way I can describe it, like literally like in front of me, but it goes quickly, or I'll see something larger out of the corner of my eye, like flashes. I actually don't really love when that happens because it's distracting. I don't want to be like, like pulled out of, my state that I'm in during my reading. But sometimes it does happen. And so you just know that, I'm not alone, which is fine. That's the whole point. So it's, makes things interesting when that kind of thing happens. The other thing that happens quite often, especially when I'm in a pet reading, is my client, the sitter. My client is also called the sitter, so I'm gonna say sitter from now on. The sitter will go into a quiet room in their house for the reading and get on camera with me, and then they will oftentimes bring their pets into the room with them. And especially when I am connecting to a pet in spirit, but sometimes also people, their dogs will start barking at nothing, or the cat, they'll say, my cat is acting really weird. He's he's sitting in the corner. He's staring at the corner. He's staring at the ceiling. I've heard this over and over and over again to the point where I'm like, okay, it must be because pets are more sensitive to the spirit world, I'm assuming, and they can just sense them easier than we can. Because I always get in the comments, he never does this. I'm so sorry. I don't know why he's acting like this. He's acting crazy. I don't know what my cat's like. I hear it. Once you hear it over and over and over again, you can only come to the conclusion that they're sensing spirit in the room with them. Okay, another one that's crazier that happens a lot less often is when I'm in the middle of a reading. It's been going 20, 30, 40 minutes sometimes. And so most of the time I do my readings on my phone versus my computer. So I have a little stand for my computer and I'm looking at my client, they're looking at me. And, well into the reading, all of a sudden, it will change from the screen where I'm able to see my client, and it will leave that screen and go to another screen and then switch to my home screen. And I've had it switch to 2 or 3 different screens, like as if somebody is taking control of my phone and leaving the screen I'm on and going to a different screen and then closing that one out and then going to a third one. And I'm like, first of all, I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose the call. I don't want to lose my client right in the middle of a reading. And then my second thought is, what is going on? Because that never happens with my phone. Never does it just start changing screens by itself. So that hasn't happened that many times, but when it does, I get lit up with the goosebumps. And then I tell my client, and they're usually a little bit freaked out. But to be honest, when it happens, it's pretty cool because that one is more rare. I had one time where it left the screen, where the regular screen where I'm looking at my client. I could still see the little window of them in the corner of the screen, but it left the Facebook video screen, went to a different screen, and the screen split in the middle where half the screen was some random ad. Again, never seen that. Never seen it where my phone switches to a split screen where it's half ad and then half the camera with my client. It was so bizarre. And I literally took a screenshot. I kept the screenshot for a long time, but I look so terrible in the screenshot because I'm like, like I'm in shock and like, I just don't want to show anybody. I look so terrible. So I ended up just deleting it because it was on my phone forever. And so anyways, that one's pretty cool. I clearly remember the last time that happened. The person I was connecting to in spirit was like a 19-year-old boy. And so I feel like it was just his way of showing me like, you know, look what I can do. I can manipulate electricity, that kind of thing. And that is another way that people and pets in spirit show their presence, is by messing with the lights, messing with your phone, you know, just messing with electricity. So yeah, so I feel like that was just their way of showing me right then and there, like, hey, I'm here, check this out. Pretty cool. Before, for the longest time, for years, every reading I would do, I would immediately get this tingling feeling at my crown chakra at the top of my head, and it feels really good. It's like very soothing. It's the same exact feeling that I get when I'm in meditation, but when I'm deep meditation. But in deep meditation, not only do I get it on my crown chakra, I often get it on my third eye, and then I sometimes get it on my heart chakra. I love when it comes to my heart chakra. So that would happen every single reading. I just came to expect it. And then, weirdly enough, that stopped happening. And what took its place was me getting goosebumps up my arms, sometimes all over my body, every single reading. And that is still happening to this day. Every single reading. Usually 10, 15, 20 minutes in is when it happens. But sometimes it's right out of the gate, right when I get into the reading. It was like last week where I got on camera, hey, how's it going? And then boom, just lit up. I'm like, okay, wow, this person's gonna be strong, because sometimes it does seem like some people in spirit are a little bit more skilled at communicating with me than others. I don't know why that is. Everybody has their theories. But usually if I get it, the goosebumps right out of the gate, it's usually an indicator that they're gonna be a strong communicator. And also, the hairs on your body are extensions of your nervous system. And so that's just what happened. One of the things that happens to the human body when somebody in spirit, because they're pure energy, right? When they're nearby, it's just a reaction that the human body has. And so a lot of times when I'm talking, I'll give somebody a piece of information, a piece of evidence, ask them, can you understand this? Or do you resonate with this piece of information? And then they'll be like, oh my gosh, yes. And then that's usually when I get lit up with the goosebumps. And then I will tell them, actually, I like to show them, which is not very professional. Look at my arms. But I like to show them or tell them, I'm lit up with goosebumps right now. And a lot of times they'll go, me too, what's that mean? And I'm like, it's just that the person in spirit is here with the both of us, because once you're in spirit, once you're pure energy form, you can be in more than one place at a time. It's called omnipresence. We won't get too deep into that. I'll definitely do another video about that, but I just wanted to share that little fact. So I do love it. And sometimes I will get goosebumps for a second and sometimes a third time in the reading as a confirmation. Like me and my sitter will be talking about, I wonder if it maybe means this. And then the sitter will say something like, yeah, I think that's probably what it means. And then we'll just be sitting there for about a second, and then I'll just get lit up with the goosebumps, and I feel like they give me that as like a confirmation, because it's happened over and over and over and over again. So that one's really cool too. One of the other things that happens is I will like heat up. And I mean like where I'm like, oh no, oh no, like what's going on? I'm so hot that I'm uncomfortable, and that causes me to be a little bit anxious, and I don't want to be anxious in a reading. And I will usually voice that to the person, like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so hot, right? All of a sudden I'm overheating. And a lot of times the person will say, say I'm connected to a grandpa, and they'll say, yeah, my grandpa was always complaining about how hot he was. He was always complaining about the heat. Open a window is what he always said. I get that kind of thing often when I'm feeling really, really hot. So that's weird. Because I also on occasion do some amateur paranormal investigations at haunted places. And when I'm at a random haunted place, I will go through what's called a cold spot, where you like just are walking and then it's just freezing ice cold all of a sudden. I never get that in my readings. It's the heat. But at the paranormal investigations, it's cold spots. So I don't know what's up with that, but that's interesting. Rapid heartbeat is another one that sometimes happens. That was more so when I first started developing, like the first year. I'm now into my 5th year of development. But in the first year, over and over again, when I would connect to spirit, my heart would just start beating out of my chest, which I really did not like. And on occasion it will still happen, and it'll bring me back. It'll be like a flashback to my first year, and I'm like, no, not this again. But then I just have to, learn to control myself and breathe. Breath is so incredibly powerful. It's such a tool. So there have been times where I will feel something like this, like touch my hair. I'm like, okay. I already mentioned that I've seen kind of like orbs. I guess I call it orbs. I don't know how to explain it. It's like see-through in front of me, and it's fast. So I guess it's orbs. Ringing in my ears during readings, for sure. I'll get ringing in my ears. And then one of my favorite ones that I can remember is was well into a reading with a woman. And again, I can see her video, right? I can see her, she can see me. So this client was in a regular room with like a white background, and I noticed something blue. So there was nothing, see how I have stuff all over my walls? There was nothing. She just had a pure white background, and I saw something blue, just like that. And I think like my subconscious saw it, but my conscious mind just ignored it. Then I saw it a second time, and it lasted a little bit longer. And that time I was like, that time my conscious mind noticed it, and I was like, okay, am I losing my mind? Because I had never experienced that yet during a reading. So I kept going, right? I don't want to lose the state, the alpha state that I'm in. And so I kept going. And then the third time, it was a full-on darkish blue. Oh, actually, kind of like the blue on my screen right here. This beautiful, brilliant blue, like a blue ball. And it had a tail, and it got lighter. The blue got lighter in color as the tail got longer. It was like a swirly orb ball thing. And it was swirling like this, just flying around her head like that. And I was just like frozen in like shock, I guess. And I don't know how many seconds, but I was just watching it and my brain was registering that the first and the second time I saw the blue light was real. I'm now seeing it for a third time. There is something blue flying around her head. And after a few seconds of shock, I finally was able to say, are you seeing this? Like in the video of yourself, can you see this? Can you see this? And she was like, see what? And I'm like, the light around your head. Like I couldn't get it out. I'm like, the light around your head, do you see it? Oh my God. And I wanted her to see it so bad. And I should have, instead of waiting for her to see it, if I was smart, I should have grabbed for my phone and screenshotted it. And when I finally did, I finally came to my senses after I was realizing that she's not going to see it, because she was just looking in the video of herself no, what, where, what? And finally I was like, in my brain, she's not going to see it, screenshot the damn thing. So by the time I went to screenshot it, it had left like a millisecond before. And I was like, no, oh man, I would have loved to have that on a screenshot. I've got some cool pictures of spirit, energy, mist, that kind of thing from my paranormal investigations. One of my favorites is from one of my many paranormal ghost hunting trips to Virginia City, Nevada, a super haunted town that's looks like it's straight out of the past. People literally walk around in the cowboy attire. I've got a really cool picture. If I can find it, I will put it in the video here. I've posted it on my social medias a few times. But anyways, I really would have loved to have that screenshot. Oh, but it was one of the coolest, best things that I've ever seen in my readings. I totally invite more of that, please. So super cool. And again, I just feel like it's one of the many ways that people in spirit are able to manifest themselves. So if they gather up enough like energy, they can, when I say manifest themselves, I mean show themselves in some physical way that we can see, whether that's a shadow. People are always saying, oh my God, I saw a shadow person. That does not mean it's a bad thing. That's just one way that they can manifest themselves. So don't be scared off the bat just because you see something shadowy. So shadowy, when I've seen right after the day after my dog passed, I saw something small and very low to the ground, and he was a tiny Yorkie, and it was just like sparkly stuff, and it looked like it was alive. And it was only about 5 seconds. I was upstairs looking down at it, like, am I seeing this? I kept blinking. I'm like, it's still there. It's still there. Wow. And then when my grandma passed, I saw the same exact sparkly stuff, but this time it was tall, like the height of a human. I thought, oh my gosh, that's the same stuff, the same sparkly stuff that I saw when my dog and my grandma passed. So anyways, they can manifest themselves as sparkly stuff, as orbs, as shadows, as lights. I've had people tell me that they had their loved one come in and they could see their face, and then they were shrouded in this green light. Over and over and over again, I've seen in my comments, and I think the video I did before my last one, that video that I made is a slideshow of like 80 different screenshots from people in my comments over the last few years. In the comments of my pets and spirit videos, people telling me their paranormal experiences with their pets after their pets passed, and I screenshotted all the best ones. And when you read all these screenshots, you'll see how many different ways. There are so many of them that say the same thing, that when they saw their pet, that it looked like the brightest light or the brightest sun was shining on them or shining from the back of them. I've heard that same thing over and over again. So I'm like, okay, so that must be a thing. I haven't personally experienced that one, but I've seen so many comments from random people, saying the same thing. So they can, materialize as lights. When one of my mom's cats passed away, who I was with as she was passing away, like literally, the last, horrible minutes as the cat was passing away, and me and that cat didn't necessarily like each other. We didn't really get along. But I think her way of like thanking me for being there with her as she was passing away. The next morning I woke up and I saw her as if she was real, but just a little bit see-through. So it wasn't just like some random colored light or some shadow. It was literally her cat, just a little bit see-through, and she was just laying on the other end of my bed. I woke, it was like, I wasn't like half asleep, half awake. I was like awake to where I like popped up, like, am I seeing this? Am I seeing this? And she was still there. And then she just disappeared a few seconds after that. But so they can manifest themselves in many different ways. And I totally invite more of that. I love when they do anything out of the ordinary in my readings. So as a medium, we have clairs, right? Well, actually everybody has these clairs. Everybody has these inherent psychic senses. Mediums just, practice and develop theirs. And I'll do a different video on this, but one of the clairs is called clairsentience, and that's where you get information, evidence from whoever you're connecting with in spirit through feeling. So whether that's you receiving emotions from them, whether that's you feeling their personality, the goosebumps that I get, that would even go under the umbrella of clairsentience because it's something that I'm feeling. So one of the things that I get often, which would be considered clairsentience, is when a person in spirit wants to tell me that they passed from like a heart attack or cardiac arrest. They will give me this very specific pinprick feeling right in my heart, and it doesn't feel good, but it only lasts a few seconds. And after that happens over and over and over again in readings, and I ask my sitter, can you understand, would this person have, passed from heart attack, that kind of thing? And when it's right over and over and over again, then I now know that that little specific pinprick is their way of telling, one of their many ways, because they can tell me through words and through phrases as well. I have many different phrases for many different diseases. So that's one for heart attack. Now, if I get a pain spread out across my whole chest, that's often their way of telling me that they passed from drowning, which is interesting. And then let's see here. If like I start to choke a little bit, or I just start coughing out of nowhere, that's often their way of telling me that they had a lung-related disease. So lung disease, COPD, that kind of thing. Another one is when I get pain in my kidneys, then that's often their way of telling me that they had kidney disease and that contributed to their passing, or that was the main reason for their passing. And all of this is just for them to be able to give me evidence so that I can prove to my sitter that I indeed have their person. A few times in my readings, I have gotten a kind of severe, short, well, sometimes not so short, a severe pain in random places in my body where I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what that means. And so I'll just tell the sitter, I'm unsure, but I'm getting like a really bad pain right here. And they will tell me that's where they were shot and that's how they passed. So that one's interesting. And then there has been several times where I've gotten like a pain that spreads all across my abdomen. And that is usually indicative of there being like several issues, whether it's, gastro type of diseases that they had, usually several, more than one going on. So when I get any new piece of information, I'm like, yes, like I just love it so much. And when I get any kind of new experience, whether that's feeling something or seeing something or hearing something, it's very exciting. I hope that you found this interesting and that you enjoyed this little story time, I guess. Not really a story time, but you know what I mean. Anyways, thanks for watching. And if you would like to book a reading with me, like I said, I'm a 5th year developing evidential medium. Then you would just go to my pinned comment at the top and you can click on my link to my Facebook mediumship page, which is where you will message me to book a reading with me. Please leave a comment, subscribe, like my video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks guys, bye. Hey guys, Elisa from the future real quick. So as I was editing this video, I noticed that there was an awesome orb in this video, which is so perfect because we were talking about orbs in this video. So if you rewind back to the 17-minute and 35-second mark when I'm talking about staying with my mom's cat as she was passing, right after I say the sentence, we didn't necessarily get along. Right after I say that sentence, you're gonna see an orb drop from the top of the ceiling and go left across my black moon phase picture behind my head in the video. It goes above my head to the left across the moon phase picture right after I say the words, we didn't necessarily get along. Most orbs and videos go by super fast to where you could barely even see them, but this one is going kind of slow, which is so perfect. So I really hope that you can see it. Let me know in the comments if you can see it. Was this orb the spirit of my mom's cat with me while I was making this video? Probably.